Hello, I'm Sergeant Kevin Sadowski of the Milwaukee Police Department's 1st District, and myself and Officer Carlos Felix would like to welcome you to another one of our crime and safety meetings. For this one that is being filmed on April 14th, 2021, and we also want to wish you all a happy 414 day for this presentation. The Milwaukee Police Department would like to welcome comments, questions, or concerns as it relates to the department's actions, including but not limited to policies and practices concerning traffic stops, field interviews, no action encounters, and frisks. If you ever have any question about this, you can reach Carlos Felix or I via email or phone, and we'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have as it relates to those types of practices. Captain James Campbell is still our District 1 commander. He couldn't be here today, but he is still the captain of our 1st District. Who I do have with us here today is new to District 1, Lieutenant Robert Teal. I'm just going to have him introduce himself at this point. Lieutenant Teal.
Hello, I'm Lieutenant Robert Teal. I've been recently assigned to District 1 day shift. I've enjoyed my time up in District 4, and I'm really looking forward to my next chapter in my career at District 1 here. I've previously worked at District 4, our CIB, District 7, District 5, and District 6. So I really look forward to seeing you guys in person at some point, and I hand it back over to Sergeant Kevin Sadowski.
Thank you, Lieutenant Teal. As you guys can see, Lieutenant Teal brings a lot of experience to the table and can continue to help the supervision of our day shift and our community unit going forward. As you can see on the map, as we have done in the past, we're breaking down the 3 sectors, as we call them, of District 1. The upper east side is 120, the middle of our district is Sector 130, and then the lower downtown into the 3rd Ward sector of 140. Before we go into a lot of our crime stats, I just want to mention who are the aldermen and women of our district. Currently, we have Nicholas Kovac, who represents District 3, Robert Ballman, who represents District 4, Malele Cogs, who represents District 6, and Jose Perez, who represents District 12. Those are the aldermen for the respective neighborhoods, as well as a contact phone number should you need to reach them regarding a concern. Squad Area 120, having coverage of Cambridge Heights, Riverside Park, Downer Woods, Upper East Side, and Murray Hill. For aggravated assaults, and this goes from January 1st of 2021 until March 31st of 2021. As you can see, we have 10 aggravated assaults.
Out of the 10 aggravated assaults, 3 of these were domestic violence related. 1 was possibly self-inflicted. 7 were known suspects to the victim. 4 arrests were made at the time of the incident, and 1 suspect was a suspect alert for 1 suspect.
Auto thefts, for 120's area, we have 87. And we will kind of continue discussing, if you've watched some of our previous crime and safety meetings, we have definitely been messaging a trend with auto thefts. And all 3 of our sectors, as you will see, are definitely struggling with a high volume of these thefts. But I do want to stress that there is a lot of really good work being done by the Milwaukee Police Department. A lot of these vehicles are being recovered. Evidence is being recovered, such as fingerprints. Cases are being referred into both the district attorney's office as well as the juvenile justice system. Unfortunately, it is still an alarming trend that is being affected nationwide. And like I said, we've been messaging that for the last couple crime and safety meetings and also on our Facebook website. But we'll get into it a little bit further as the PowerPoint continues on what those vehicles are in case you're not aware or haven't been able to catch some of our previous meetings. For burglaries, we've had 8. As you can see, they're pretty spaced out. No clusters or real concerning trends from that, but that's 8 for 120 sector for that 3-month period.
And again, breaking these burglaries down, 3 were residential, 2 were garage burglaries, and 3 were business burglaries.
For robberies, we have 7 for 120's area. So once again, if you look at the clustered area, a lot of times those, whenever we see a cluster, it's normally related to one of our pharmacy businesses. And a lot of times those incidences can be where somebody is attempting to just steal a package, but if somebody happens to intervene with them, it can become a robbery because now force is being used to obtain that type of thing. And that's probably exactly what we have, if Carlos can shed a little bit more light on that.
Yes. As Sergeant Sadowski mentioned, 5 of these 7 were businesses, and 2 of the robberies were street robberies.
Thefts, non-vehicle related, we are looking at 24 thefts for that time period in Sector 120. Thefts from vehicles, 21. We'll reiterate this again, as we've kind of mentioned and messaged in the past. We can't stress enough to secure your vehicle, to not leave items that appear to be valuable to anybody in plain view. Because this is something that historically has been challenging for District 1, is things of valuable that are being left in plain view, whether it's in the back seat, front seat, or just an unlocked vehicle. And it makes it a very easy crime of opportunity for somebody to enter into your vehicle with it being unlocked, or noticing that they're going to have something of high value that's sitting on the back seat that's going to be easily accessible. So we see that, unfortunately, a lot through our district, but we try to always harp on it. And I know it's, for some of you that continuously watch us, it gets old, but we continue to see those types of things happening. So we want to continue to message that please lock your vehicles, park in a well-lit area if possible, and be mindful not to leave items of value. And then also, if you happen to be securing something in your trunk, also be mindful who's in the neighborhood that might be observing you putting something valuable in your trunk, as opposed to inside that residence that you might be going into. Continuing on, we'll look at some of the crime data for Sector 130. This is covering the lower and middle east side. For aggravated assaults, we have 7. So you can see 2 are concentrated near Arlington and Brady. And once again, no real cluster, so we didn't have somebody assaulting people all in a specific area. It varied, and Carlos will kind of bring us up to speed a little bit more on what those numbers look like.
Out of the 7 aggravated assaults, 3 were domestic violence related, 5 were known suspects to the victim, and 3 arrests were made at the time of the incident.
Auto thefts, as I had messaged a little bit earlier, our largest trend that we have and most concerning problem that we have. For Sector 130 for this time period, we had 54 auto thefts. For burglaries, we had 14 in this area.
Out of the 14 burglaries, 5 were residential, 7 were garage burglaries, and 2 were businesses.
For robberies for this time period, we have 10 in Sector 130.
1 was a business robbery, 7 were street robberies, and 2 were carjackings.
Thefts non-vehicle related, we have 26. And once again, anytime you see a theft that's non-vehicle related, most of those are referring to businesses where somebody was inside the business, chose not to pay for something, and then fled out the door without paying for it. Thefts from vehicle, 38. And squad area 140, which is Juneautown in our lower downtown area, 3rd Ward. For aggravated assaults, we had 25.
And out of that, we had 3 were domestic violence related, 12 arrests were made at the time of the incident, and 14 of these were known suspects to the victim.
Auto thefts, 67 for lower downtown area. And for burglaries, we had 24 that occurred during this time period.
Out of the 24 burglaries, 11 were residential, 5 were garage burglaries, and 8 were businesses.
Robberies in Sector 140, 16 for this time period.
5 business robberies, 10 street robberies, and 1 home invasion.
Thefts non-vehicle related, 39 for this time period in Sector 140. And thefts from vehicles, we had 51. As you can see, it's very spaced out throughout the sector, and that continuing trend of items that are possibly left in vehicles, but 51 for that sector, 140. So continue on, I just want to circle back to what we've been messaging and also what I spoke to at the beginning. Kias and Hyundais, they've been identified as our number 1 and 2 most targeted vehicles for theft. unfortunately, due to a possible design flaw, these vehicles are being stolen in under minutes. 2 to 3 minutes tops in some instances. We have definitely tried a few initiatives such as reaching out and providing clubs for people who own these types of vehicles. We're currently working with community partners to try to get more funding so we can provide that to more constituents in the area to try to better secure their vehicle. Some of the things we've also messaged is going to a local auto dealer shop or a local serviceman and perhaps having a kill switch installed on your vehicle. We still look for the most cost-effective way a club can run between $20 and $30, and it's probably going to be the best way for you to secure that vehicle right on the steering wheel. Through numerous people that have been arrested for stealing these types of vehicles, they have admitted that if they see a club on a vehicle, they do not bother with it. It's obviously going to be what is the path of least resistance, what's going to be the easiest for these individuals to actually do. And a club is going to be probably, in most instances, enough of a deterrent where they will move on to a different type of vehicle. So just so you don't think that we're not being completely forthright with these numbers, of all those that you saw, 72 of those thefts throughout our entire district were just Hyundai vehicles alone. So 72, and for Kia, we had an additional 75. So although our stolen autos are up at an alarming rate, it is still these two types of vehicles that we've identified that we're working with. We've reached out to the dealerships regarding how they're going to message out, whether it's Facebook or notifying their owners. There's been definitely a lot of work on that side to identify that obviously there is some type of design flaw that is going on, what's going to get done about it. But in the meantime, while we're having a lot of troubles continuing to keep up with the amount of vehicles that are being stolen and then recovered, processed, and ultimately individuals referred to the district attorney's office for charges. In the meantime, we still have to continue to message. If you can park inside a building, that would be ideal, even if it's inside a building, to still try to use a club or some type of anti-theft device. If you have to park outside, try to park in a well-lit area that perhaps could be in close proximity to other residents or an area where people might continuously pass by, where the extra eyes that you have on the vehicle could definitely prevent that from occurring.
As you can see from this chart here, where we're at, and we'll look all the way to the right-hand column, year-to-date. For homicides, we're at 0%. Aggravated assaults, we're up 18% from year-to-date. Rapes, we're down 29%. Robberies, we're up 75%. Burglaries, we are down 11%. Thefts, we're down 24%. Again, motor vehicles were up, and that's at 305%. Arsons, we're down 0%. Human trafficking, 0% on that. Aggravated assaults with firearms, we're up 75%. Armed robberies with a firearm, we're up 11%.
So just to kind of touch on those numbers a little bit, a member of the community reached out to me last week asking some questions of a possible carjacking trend that was occurring up in our 120 area. We don't have any evidence of any carjacking trends, but what we are seeing is two of these numbers that I just want to point out, between the robberies being up 75% and the motor vehicle thefts 305%, there's a direct correlation of the same individuals that are actually stealing the Kia or Hyundai are in many instances more likely to continue to commit more crime, but we've already seen where those types of vehicles have then been involved in armed robbery. So unfortunately, you have individuals come to the neighborhood, look for that specific vehicle that they are able to obtain, and then if they have the opportunity to perhaps either use a firearm or to use physical force, are committing robberies in those same vehicles. And then we're continuously seeing those vehicles then be disregarded, and then a new vehicle of similar make and model, the Kia or Hyundai, then be obtained again, and then continuing throughout the city to commit these types of crimes. So that's definitely the correlation between them. Like I said, at least in our district, we haven't seen an alarming trend where a lot of carjackings and vehicles are being taken by gunpoint or with force. They are being taken as they're sitting parked on the road, being broken into and then stolen. So I just want to definitely clarify that the motor vehicle theft, those instances are not where somebody is using a weapon in most cases to obtain that vehicle. Milwaukee Police Department recently, Chief Jeffrey Norman has a new initiative. The cries for the community about the way people are driving, how reckless they are, how unsafe it is for families that are trying to cross the street, going to your morning commute to work, or just trying to go to any one of our businesses to enjoy your life, is being highly affected by the way people are driving. Those messages have been heard, it's been identified, and from the top down, Chief Norman has established a new unit called the Traffic Safety Unit, and I'm just going to show you a couple slides that are explaining what exactly that looks like. So the Traffic Safety Unit is committed to a community partnership with the goal of creating a safer Milwaukee by enforcing traffic laws, enforcement, educating and partnering with the community in solving traffic problems, education, and recommending traffic engineering changes. The Traffic Safety Unit will give the department a long-term plan for traffic safety, provide traffic safety using on-duty resources without using overtime, provide a one-stop shop for traffic-related issues, and provide the community with an opportunity to be included and part of the solution to the reckless driving that is occurring throughout Milwaukee. A select group of police officers will be assigned to the Traffic Safety Unit at the Specialized Patrol Division. Every day, a team of dedicated police officers will leverage data-driven processes to deploy to areas and utilize approved law enforcement tactics combined with technology to address traffic issues in the city of Milwaukee. Data-driven approaches to crime and safety, which is commonly referred to as DDACs, coordinate with officers deployed for Reckless Driving Reduction Initiative, Traffic Management Control Center, Traffic Safety Speed Boards and Message Boards, target and ticket those individuals that are engaged in reckless driving behavior. And as you can see here, here's a map of what's actually been occurring in District 1. So these are the top areas that they identified for both crime and crash. And I know it's a little hard based off of the dots and the traffic pattern, but this is how it's already been utilized as a new division in our downtown district. And what's been really nice already about the unit is through different emails or community meetings, we've consistently, Officer Felix and I, been given, hey, we have a concern at this intersection, we have a concern with pedestrian traffic. So Officer Felix and I have been able to utilize our own speed board, which also doubles as a message board that can let other people that are driving be aware that there is pedestrian crossing at areas they might not normally recognize. The speed board can also identify what that person's speed is going at. And our traffic safety unit has been great with us being able to utilize them by messaging to them, hey, we got a citizen complaint in this area regarding this type of offense, and they're able to deploy their resources as given to try to combat that problem. Along with our longstanding traffic enforcement unit, which has also been our motorcycle officers, which have commonly in the past been used to help with traffic control, but also do traffic enforcement as well. And Officer Felix, if you just want to mention some of the other capabilities that are speed board that we deploy, what types of things it actually tracks and how it can help.
With the newer large speed boards that the department has, we're able to track how many vehicles have been on a roadway, at what time, speeds, when they reduce their speeds. So it provides a lot of information that we can use to deploy resources into an area if there's a problem.
Great. So here's a contact guide if you've never seen it. Of our District 1 community contacts. At the top, you will see Captain James Campbell. Underneath it, I am once again Sergeant Kevin Sadowski, our Community Liaison Sergeant. That's a phone number you can reach me at, as well as my email. Right below is Officer Carlos Felix with his phone number, his hours, and his email. And then unfortunately, she couldn't be here with us today due to being in court, but Assistant District Attorney Kelly Hedge, who, as always, I just want to give a shout out to Kelly. She's been working tirelessly with a lot of the continued habitual nuisance offenders that are causing issues in our district. Kelly's continuing to work on many different types of cases, whether it's from package theft, whether it's armed robbery complaints, habitual individuals that were committing retail thefts that turned into armed robberies, continuing with the catalytic converter trend that we had messaged a couple times. Kelly still has ongoing cases with 2 individuals regarding that. But ultimately, we work in an office every day with Kelly. She's really on board to help all your complaints that they're heard, and then make sure that the right type of prosecution is being done based off of the needs of that individual. Is a lot of the individuals we come into contact with could have drug dependency, alcohol dependency. Kelly does a really good job of making sure that that is referred to the right type of court for what's best for not only society, but then that individual as well. We're continuously meeting with more businesses as we're here on April 14th. We're starting to see a lot of people with the vaccination. The city's starting to open up a little bit more for us. We're starting to have a little bit more meetings, and we really look forward to that. It's really good to have Officer Felix and my phone ringing again. Looking forward to some meetings, having us come out to your businesses and do some safety surveys, some best practices. As always, Officer Felix and I offer active shooter training, best practice training, safety surveys, and then just pretty much anything that you could generally have a concern about, whether it's a prolific individual that's always hanging outside of your business or a recent rash of car break-ins that might have occurred near your business or near your property. It's what Officer Felix, myself, and ADA Hedge are here for, is to sit down together, discuss an action plan, and ultimately hold those people accountable for those types of actions. So that's our contact information. And then below are the cell phone numbers should you be in that designated area for a Brewery Street beat officer, Brady Street, North Avenue, 3rd Ward, and Wisconsin Avenue. So those are people that District 1 has designated as areas where a specific beat officer is. So if you happen to be on Brady Street, if there's a chance that you don't know Officer Bob Matthews, that is the number that you can get a hold of him at for any of those types of concerns that are occurring on that street, as well as our additional beat officers. So please utilize them. They're there to assist in any types of problems that you might be having. Carlos, do you have anything to add?
I want to thank you for joining us today. Also, we'll send this link out. We'll post it on our Facebook site next door. Send it out to a few of our community partners. I'd like to ask you for your help, and please share this link with family, friends, neighbors, association members, and Block Watch members that you feel may get some use out of this information. Thank you.
Great. And I don't think it was up and running yet as of our last meeting, but just a message out to everybody, we do have a Facebook page. It is Milwaukee Police District 1. This will be shared on that as well as YouTube, but definitely share it, utilize it, check out some of the really good things that we've done in the community here at District 1 since our last meeting. A couple really good initiatives, and there's going to be a lot more messaging and events going forward, we hope, and we definitely look forward to being able to see everybody in a public setting again. Feel free with anything that you saw today. If you have any questions, please call or email Officer Felix or I. We'd be happy to discuss anything. We'll probably see a lot of you at the next community meetings, whether they're Zoom or in person, but whatever you had, if you have any questions about that. Other than that, we really look forward to seeing you again in the very near future. And this will conclude our crime and safety meeting for April 14th, 2021. Thank you very much and take care.